Okay, so I'm back. I accidentally I hit a button. Let's just call it a commercial. Um, so kind of lame, right? But I'm a beginner, so give me a break, right? It's all good. So she I'm trying to think where I was. The last thing I said is that she had trouble realizing what the difference was going to be between being innocent and being guilty. So she's like, this lie detector test, okay? I was starting to say that earlier in the day, Christine Blasey Ford had given statements about Brett Kavanaugh, how he was all over her, okay? And then she used the same description about the polygraph. She said the polygraph was all over her body. She said that Brett Kavanaugh was all over her body. The way she said it, it was the same. And I found that interesting and curious. So I just thought that was interesting. And I also heard Mr. Limbaugh commented the same thing. So that's some interesting things. There's some other details about this case that I find interesting about her testimony. I do think that the Democrats have put her up to this. I think they've urged her about this. Oh, another thing that she thought was really interesting is she said she felt that she had to come forward with this because Mr. Kavanaugh might be a Supreme Court justice someday. And that was back in 2014, if I have the story right. So some incredible stuff. This is the news of the day, and we'll wait to see kind of what happens as we go forward from here. But right now it's really, really interesting, and there's some inconsistent things with Miss Ford's testimony. I don't want to be insensitive, but I also think that people have a right to be innocent until proven guilty. And in this case, there's a lot of inconsistencies that I would want to look at and I'd want to answer before I could conclude that that Mr. Kavanaugh is guilty of these things that she says because of some of these inconsistencies. One of them being that I mentioned in the last video was that she had said that Mr. Kavanaugh and her friend followed her up the stairs. Well, she came to the party. When she arrived at the party, they were both visibly drunk. And then she was there for another hour, half an hour to an hour. And she said she had one beer. She went upstairs to find the bathroom. Apparently they followed her upstairs and then they pushed her into a room across the hall from the bathroom. She claims that while that when they pushed her in this room, and this is when Kavanaugh had allegedly tried to rape her, is what she thinks, because he was fondling her, trying to get her clothes off, but couldn't because she had a bathing suit on. So my feeling is it's strange because she said 6 weeks later she went into a grocery store with her mom, and this other boy who watched this whole thing go down, that she was looking to rescue her from this situation, but he didn't. He just laughed and jumped on the bed until they all fell off the bed. But she went up to him and said, "Hey, how you doing?" And he seemed nervous, she said, and she seemed surprised by that in her testimony today. She seemed surprised that he would be nervous, and she said he also looked sick. So to me, that's her setting up the story of the events of what happened. And she's going, "Oh, I was surprised, but he looked sick and he acted nervous." Well, what do you think? If all this really happens, of course he's going to be nervous and he's going to, probably feel sick, right? So, but that's her, like if you were in a court of law, it'd be like leading the witness or something, right? It's very strange, like who put her up to that? I feel like this is politically motivated, and it looks to me that way. Her testimony is inconsistent in a lot of ways. I believe that once this comes out, we're going to see it'll be so inconsistent that it can't be proven that he actually did these things, and it's very strange. The whole thing's very strange. Her behavior was very strange in the courtroom. She was like, not the courtroom, but giving the statements before the Senate Judiciary Committee. She's like, yeah, can I, after I'm done telling you about this, can I get a Coke? I mean, kind of interesting. Oh, and I wore a Coke shirt, right? So, my phone died. What do you think?